It's hot. Even here, it's hot. I don't know why. It's just me, or is it hot? It's hot, right? Well, we want to thank you for coming to Vespers tonight, and we have a very special program, and I hope that everybody benefits from it, and I really want to hear the stories that are coming from the beautiful Grant family and everybody involved, right? And if you are just coming in, take a seat, and we will start our program. Let's go ahead and bow our heads to pray. Let's bow our heads to pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for the blessings you give us, and also, as you brought back the Grants, you brought them back safely, Lord, and please allow us to follow an example as to what it means to go out and, do what you want us to do. Help us, Lord, learn during this program, but more importantly, help our youth to look forward to one day just giving their life to you in a missionary way, Lord, and we pray for all of them. Thank you for everything. Be with us and stay with us, and a special blessing for this program today. We ask you all this in your name. Amen. All right, so everybody's excited about the program today, and I'm pretty sure that you don't want to hear Pastor Art speak anymore, so I'm going to go ahead and hand over everything to you guys. Thank you guys for taking over the program, and we hope that you can share beautiful stories with us.
Thank you so much. Welcome. Thank you for coming. We're excited to share our adventure with you. And most of you know that we went to Paraguay, that's in South America, on a Maranatha Volunteers International mission trip. So my dad, Richard Vischer, myself and Dan, my son Josiah, and my uncle Rob, as well as my brother and his wife and 2 children, went on this project together. So I just wanted to share with you a little bit as to who or what Maranatha is. And it's an organization. The impact of Maranatha's mission is twofold, as we provide desperately needed buildings, but also offer opportunities for ordinary people to make service part of their lives. Their mission statement: Maranatha spreads the gospel throughout the world as it builds people through the construction of urgently needed buildings. Maranatha is a nonprofit, responsive organization that works in conjunction with the Seventh-day Adventist Church to provide strong, dignified structures for worship and education. Around the world, there are thousands of congregations praying for a proper church to call their own while meeting in sheds or under trees. Children are going to school in dilapidated buildings, causing their quality of education to suffer. To fill this urgent need, Maranatha constructs churches and schools, facilities that later become centers of outreach for a community. History has shown that the construction of churches and schools is a catalyst for membership growth in a region. So the scope of the project that we participated in, we were gone for almost 2 weeks, and there was 140 participants from Canada, US, Australia, Philippines. I'm not sure if there's any other countries represented. And the projects that we did were 2 churches, and painted a 3rd church that Maranatha had previously built around 20 years ago. And we also did a medical outreach, dental outreach, eyeglasses with medical, and children's ministries. The public schools in the area invited Maranatha to come do programming. So there was also that outreach, as well as day camp, and we'll talk about day camp a little later. But what we would like to do right now is sing our theme song. So if we can all sing together, we had a theme song that we sang at all of our worships, and it's a familiar song to most of you, but the second verse has been altered, and so I'd like you to appreciate the words as you sing that with us as well. So that should be on the screen, ready to go. Let's stand up. So we're not unless somebody wants to jump to the piano, we were not planning on using the piano, so we're just going to sing it a cappella. So it's step by step. Step by step, oh, sorry. Oh God, you are my God, and I will ever praise you. Oh God, you are my God, and I will ever praise you. I will seek you in the morning, and I will learn to walk in your ways. And step by step, you'll lead me, and I will follow you all of my days. And I will follow you all of my days. And I will follow you all of my days. And step by step, you'll lead me, and I will follow you all of my days. Oh God, you are my God, and I will ever trust you. Though darkness be my path, I know you'll lead me through. When you call me, I will answer. Where you send me, I will go. 'Cause step by step you lead me, and my faith in you will grow. And my faith in you will grow. And my faith in you will grow. And step by step you'll lead me, and my faith in you will grow.
Okay, right before the video starts, this is a video you can find on the Maranatha website, and it is what would you call it, a preview? It's a Maranatha mission story that came out earlier in the year, and it shows the pre-story of where they had their project this year, there in Paraguay. Of the community, one of the churches, and some of the backstory, and you'll get to see some of the people in the video that we got to meet.
There's one, before we just start the video, historically, Maranatha Volunteers International has had invitational projects where everyone was invited, and then they had group projects where, you know, a school or church would get together and they'd go on a project somewhere. Then they started the Ultimate Workout, which was for teens, and you were in number 3, right? The third one?
Number 7 through 10.
7 through 10.
And they're on 35 this summer.
Yeah, now it's 35 this summer. So they would have up to 200 kids,
Maybe a
and
little
they'd
less.
build a church, a school.
No, 4. They'd split, because there's so many. You do,
Yeah.
say 4 churches or 3 churches in a school throughout the country.
Anyway, it morphed into the collegiate, where college-age students would go. And then they realized that they were kind of missing a demographic. You know, they were having the young people, and they were having the really old people, retirees, you know, that had nothing else to do. So they thought, you know what, let's have a family project where families are invited to come. So this was the 3rd. Anyway, they have 2 or 3 a year now of these.
They do 2 a year, one usually Central South America in end of June, and then they do one into India at Christmas.
Yes. Last year it was in Kenya at Christmas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So they focus on families, and it's ministering to the families that go, as well as, of course, facilitating ministry to the local community. So we had a lot of kids.
We had 140 people, as Janelle said, and they were aged from 3 years old to 83 years old, right?
Something like close to that, yeah.
So it's a big range, and some families were just one person, and some families like ours were 9, and there was one that was even bigger, right? So, Yeah. Anyway, let's roll the video.
The city of Ciudad del Este is most famous for its proximity to Iguazu Falls, as the natural wonder draws more than 1.5 million visitors each year. Ciudad del Este is the second most populous city in Paraguay, and it is the business and technology capital of the country. It's also home to Juan Carlos. Juan Carlos Mieres is a retired engineer and a member of the San Alfredo Adventist Church in the suburbs of Ciudad del Este. A few times a week, you can find Juan Carlos shuttling members from around the city to church, ensuring they can attend the many activities organized by the group. He's been a member since 2012, but his faith journey began decades prior.
Yo me formé, ¿cierto?, con educación adventista. Yo hice mi secundario en el Colegio Adventista del Plata, que queda en la Argentina. Yo hice mi secundario, pero aún ahí no me bauticé. Después, como Moisés, salí de ahí 40 años por el mundo, 40 años yendo de aquí a allá, pero sin olvidar nunca, por ejemplo, la formación adventista.
He spent many years working as an engineer for a large hydroelectric dam and even rose to a management position. But something was still missing from his life.
Y determinadas circunstancias hicieron, por ejemplo, que comenzara a buscar una iglesia adventista en el lugar donde vivo. Fueron esas circunstancias a veces dolorosas como un accidente, y donde me hizo recapacitar que era hora de volver nuevamente a buscarle a Dios.
Someone told him about a new group of Adventists that had just begun meeting in the San Alfredo neighborhood, and they invited him to join. Soon, Juan Carlos discovered his life was changing. Little by little, he began to study the Bible, again fostering the practice of studying, speaking with God, praying again. He found himself reading books like The Desire of Ages or The Great Controversy, books he had been familiar with but had never studied with this amount of enthusiasm, love, and affection. Through the Holy Spirit, his life completely changed. The connection to the San Alfredo Adventist community changed Juan Carlos's life. What started as a handful of people meeting in a member's home has grown to 75 members worshiping together each week. This church community has a special place in his heart.
Es como si yo lo hubiera plantado o regado, verlo crecer. Conozco a cada uno de mis hermanos, a cada familia y a los muchachos que muchas veces ya vi crecer. No puedo dejar de vivir por San Alfredo. Y como diría la gente, yo soy jubilado. Yo puedo agarrar el mayor crucero del mundo, irme por el año, puedo irme por 1 año, 2 años, 3 años, tranquilamente. Pero la mayor alegría es mi iglesia, mis hermanos, ¿cierto?
Today, this congregation is the fastest growing Adventist group in the area. The one thing that is slowing their growth is physical space. For years, they bounced around from space to space, finally landing in this home that they rented and converted into a makeshift church. But the space cannot accommodate all that want to attend, and the layout is less than ideal. The church hosts many community programs, and renting this space for $380 a month is a financial hardship the members find difficult to bear.
Contamos con tantos miembros que no conseguimos caber, digamos, entrar en este salón. A veces las personas tienen que buscar otra iglesia porque acá no pueden ellos ingresar todo. Y eso es, digamos, lo que tenemos en la realidad. Entonces, lamentamos que la mayoría de los miembros a veces no pueden compartir con nosotros, tienen que ir a buscar otro lugar y nos dicen cada día el por qué no hacen una iglesia, el por qué no construyen algo más grande, el por qué acaso ustedes no tienen mucha gente. Y le decimos, Dios proveerá.
For years, Juan Carlos tried different avenues to gather financial support to help them build a new church. Promises were made, but each time reality set in and they were let down. Then, at the beginning of 2024, they received different news from Maranatha.
Hasta que de repente nos viene la noticia de que íbamos a construir nuestra iglesia, que íbamos a tener nuestra iglesia. Y una cosa que realmente ya era palpable, realmente ya era cuestión de tiempo, como nos dijeron, ¿cierto? Que ya estaban los papeles que nos iban, ¿cierto? Iban a hacer lo imposible para que tengamos nuestra iglesia. Y hasta ahora hay personas que no pueden creer eso. Hasta ahora los hermanos no saben cómo agradecer, no saben cómo orar, no saben qué hacer de la alegría y de la confianza y de la oración y de las gracias que tienen para nuestro Dios.
The feeling of disbelief and gratitude is shared by all of the congregations Maranatha will be helping all over the country.
Para nosotros en Paraguay realmente es una bendición poder recibir a Maranatha. Estábamos aquí peleando con lo que podíamos, recibiendo apoyos, pero cuando vimos que Maranatha podía venir, nos dio una luz de esperanza muy, muy especial. Creemos que todas estas iglesias que Maranatha nos va a poder ayudar a construir, va a cambiar la historia de los hermanos en aquel lugar. Hermanos que estaban apretados y ya no entraban más personas, ahora tendrán espacio para invitar a gente a venir. Hermanos que no tenían dónde reunirse, ahora van a tener lugares dignos de nuestro Dios que creemos. Entonces, para Paraguay, el apoyo de Maranatha es fundamental. Nuestra gratitud a Dios en primer lugar y al liderazgo, a los que apoyan mediante Maranatha el Evangelio en Paraguay.
Maranatha is embarking on a major project to bring proper places of worship to congregations in Paraguay. Soon, empty plots of land will be transformed into cherished worship spaces. It's a project that is very personal to Americo, Justino, and Juan Carlos. They have worked hard to be pillars of faith, bringing light and hope to their communities. Maranatha's arrival validates the sacrifices they've made to share Jesus with their friends and neighbors. But none of this is possible without your support. Make a donation towards the construction of churches in Paraguay. You can help Maranatha share the heart of Christ in the warm heart of South America.
So Juan Carlo was the elder of the church that we built. There we go. And just a note we learned while we were there, the church that we built was, I guess, one of the biggest ones that Maranatha had done. Between this video and this news that they received and actually the church starting to be built, they expanded it and they made it much bigger because there was the need. That community was, that congregation was growing, and they, as you saw, their old church, they were actually, we were told the last Sabbath there that they were on an attendance rotation, where these families got to come to church one week and then these another week and these, so they're on, I think, a 3-week rotation.
Yeah, so when we got there, it was a little bit of, we didn't kind of know what was happening, but I tell you, Maranatha knew. There was 140 of us, as we had said, but of the 140, 20 of those were leaders. So there was 6 volunteers to 1 leader, and they were so well organized. There was leadership in all kinds of positions, but the key one was the spiritual leader. That was Pastor Steve Case.
Yeah, he was a project coordinator and the spiritual leader. Are we able to, oh, the slideshow's back there.
Can we get the,
Yeah, can we get it
slide
there?
on the TV? No?
Nope.
Well, then let's move our chair.
Sorry, we're going to shift so we can see what we're talking about here.
So obviously that's us at the airport getting ready to leave. This is Sao Paulo. And that's, where is this? Foz do Iguazu. Anyway, this is our flight from Toronto to Sao Paulo. And how long was it, Janelle?
10 hours.
What was that? Okay, there we go.
For those who like details, there you go. That's our travel.
But there was an 8-hour layover in Sao Paulo. And that was the group of volunteers. And you can see a few of us in there. But we made a lot of friends. And a lot of these people had gone to the family project a year ago, so a lot of them knew each other, especially my granddaughters. They had friends from all over the world.
It's one of those things where you go once and then just you catch yourself saying, oh yeah, and so the next year, and it's just one of those, everyone is just intending to come back again. So this is Steve and Marit Case. Steve was the project coordinator and spiritual leader for the whole group for the project. This was actually the 7th project that I had been on with him, as he was a leader back when with Ultimate Workouts, when I had been doing Ultimate Workouts, and the 2 young adult projects I did with him. So fantastic, spirit-filled team, and extremely organized, which a lot of you know that really speaks to me. So, so up in the wall we stayed in a hotel, by the way, and most comfortable project I've ever been on. And on the wall in the hotel there was these posters or pages put up, and our purpose for the mission trip: service opportunities that shape our values and develop faith in God, challenges and bonding for individuals, families, and the entire group, and to be part of what God is already doing to spread the gospel in Paraguay. So it was often brought to our minds as we had worship and as we dwelt and reflected on our days.
So when we flew in to Sao Paulo and then waited and then flew the 1 and 40-minute flight to this, say it?
Foz do Iguazu.
Anyway, it was the little city on the southwest corner of Brazil, and it was right across the border from the city that we were in, and also right across the border from Argentina. So all 3 countries met there. They picked us up at the airport in a bus, and then we had to clear customs out of Brazil and get our passports stamped again and show them our visa, Brazilian visa. And then we had to go across the border and get our passport stamped going into Paraguay.
So both times we got off the bus, you see, we had to walk over, hand our passports over. They looked at them as we waited in a group. They passed them back. And then driving across to Paraguay, we say across because it's across a river, and it's across what they call the Friendship Bridge. And then we got off again and did the same thing, but this time it was in a building and they took our picture.
And it was a bit confusing, but nonetheless, we adhered to the rules of the country. And the other thing is, it was winter time there. Summer here, and this is south of the equator. It's about as far south of the equator as Miami is north of the equator, but it was really cold. Like at night, it would go down to about 6 degrees, and during the day, if we were lucky, it hit 21, 22. So we kind of layered up, especially on the project site. And this was our hotel that we stayed at, and I could not believe how nice this place was. I mean, compared to where we stayed. Right, Janelle?
Many other trips, yeah.
Yeah.
You'll see in the bottom right the courtyard, and just beyond that is a parking lot, and they've had to set up 4 tents altogether to accommodate us. We had to eat suppers and breakfasts outside in that tent and had our worship in there.
And we had morning and evening worship, and
This was our view from the hotel at night. I think maybe one of the nights we were there. The way Janelle had told me about all her mission trips before, in my mind, my expectations were that we were going to be roughing it. So I had psyched myself up. I was like, okay, this is going to be rough. And then when we got there, I was like, this is a breeze. So
It's definitely the most comfortable.
we had a swimming pool.
Oh, by the way, that is, so those buildings you're seeing is Foz de Iguazu. That's across the river. That's Brazil. And I actually didn't post a photo of the town of Ciudad del Este. But
You can see Brazil is a lot more affluent than
Yes.
Paraguay is.
Just a few pictures of in the hotel. Top right is how we went through to get our meals, and in the morning, right before breakfast, you go and make your lunch. That's a bottom right picture, so you pack up your lunch. The kitchen there on the left, it was, I've been a cook a few times on Maranatha projects, and whew, never had a kitchen that beautiful. So it was exciting. Our donations we all had to bring just to help out with the lunches.
Yeah, and the food was really good, and there was a lot of food.
We put our lunches in
Yeah.
in the morning when you come down for breakfast, you make your lunch, but you have to check the wall because your job assignments for the day are posted, and depending on what you said when you signed up, if you wanted to be at the same church or if you wanted a variation of locations, you were just assigned to wherever for the day. So you had to check and see what box do you put your lunch in, how do you dress for the day, what are you doing for the day.
And we were fortunate in that we spent most of our time at the San Alfredo Sauce Church. And except one time, Dan, you had kitchen duty, but you switched with Janelle because he was determined to.
Yeah, too committed to the.
Yeah, committed, yeah.
this is where we would eat and meet for worships in the morning and
at
in the
night.
evening.
Here's my son, Jonathan. This was our first view of the San Alfredo Church. So Maranatha has a crew, or several crews of people. They're doing about 25 churches in Paraguay. Typically, they enter a country and they commit to 20, 25 or more. India was 1,000 churches.
Yeah, India's still going 25 years. But they have in-country employees. So on the far left, you'll see those 3 men and the one on the far left right there. Those were local employees, and they worked with us. Quality control and everything else. You see Maranatha set up the site for us. poured and the foundation and put the structure up. Sometimes they have the roof on. This time right now they have a tarp. We do what we can, and when we leave, it's guaranteed to be completely finished to completion and stuccoed and painted and windows and doors installed and everything. Beautiful church once it's done.
And there you can see the tarp on the roof, which was a godsend because it rained several days and it kept us all dry. But yeah, the first miracle on this trip, I think, was an hour and a half in to the first morning. Our construction superintendent got sick and he had to leave. For the day. Yeah,
That's him there.
He's from Yugoslavia or Slovenia now, right? He's American now, but anyway. So he was sick, but years ago I had done construction superintendent work on many Maranatha projects, and I was able to slide in and fill that role in his stead. So.
And that's Dan's first block.
Yeah.
After the first day, because Richard had kind of taken that role on, after that, at the site, people were calling his name all day. Richard, come check this. Richard, come check that. Richard.
And then about 10:30 in the morning, a bunch of kids showed up. So Josiah, explain what's going on, what you did every morning, every day.
So I went with day camp most of the days, and so we would go around. For the first 3 days, we went to the job sites. So we went to this church, and then the first day, and then on Sunday we went to the second church, which was the Mariscal Lopez church, and then on Monday, we went to the church and painted the other one. And then in the afternoons, we would go out and do stuff. Like we went to the world's second largest dam in Brazil. We went zip lining. Yeah, and we went around and did some cultural things. We went to the school and helped out with the kids, like learn music and stuff sometimes, and yeah.
So one day I said to Janelle, the first day, do you know where in the country your son is?
I laughed.
He wasn't in the country.
I laughed and said, nope. But
It turned out he wasn't even in the country. He was in Brazil. And they didn't even check his passport.
he didn't even have his passport. So it was great. You know, I spent a lot of my childhood and my teenage years doing these mission trips, and it did my heart good to see my husband and my son.
She was very happy we went. So this was the first day we were there, obviously. It was a challenge learning to lay block.
And the young kids helped out that morning, and they learned how to lay block as well, at least throw the mud down on top of the other block. But you could see my little granddaughter in the far picture. That's Alexis, and she's wielding a trowel, and her dad teaching her, and the three of them. She learned last year how to do it. So when I said, do you want me to teach you? And she said, no, I know how to do this.
Jonathan was having them practice putting the mud on the end of the blocks there. And Rob, you see Rob in the back? Man, Rob did an amazing job. He worked and he filled a lot of different roles. was constantly working, and he had it down. It was great working with Rob. We had our
And-
lunch. The kids stayed for lunch there.
And we discovered Rob can speak Spanish fluently.
Her little friend on the left there is Alexis, and Ella was on our last flight and on our bus arriving, and the reunion between those two girls was great at 10:30 at night because they had become close friends the year before when they had gone on the family project. End of the first day. This is on the far left is Dan and Mark. Mark is from the Philippines, and they, when you get to the job site in the morning and it's, first day, no one knows what role they're going to take, and things settle out. And I ended up starting with one position and ending up doing something else most of the day, and Mark and Dan ended up working together for all the days that he was on the job site. And they're standing in front of the wall. This is just one section of the length of the wall that they built together.
The first line of blocks Mark and I laid, the quality control came around and picked up every single block we put down. And then redid it. And then we watched them do it, and then we were able to do it after that. So
The biggest problem was that it's very humid. It had been raining, and then the nationals that were mixing the mortar, they were using the regular mix, so they used just as much water as they normally did, but the mortar came out really soupy, and the blocks were very narrow on top, and it was like trying to balance a stack of quarters on edge, to get this mortar to stick on top. So it was just, and they were heavy. The blocks had been rained on, so you'd put them on the mortar, and they should sit there, and they just sink down, below the line. So it was everybody was having trouble the first while. And then
So
we
it was
discovered
our
if we laid a bed of mortar, 20, 30 feet long, and then came back and started laying block, it would help because it was kind of set up a bit.
This is our first Sabbath.
Yeah, so after the first day, then we met the next day, which was Sabbath, and we had worship service in the church. You can see that there. We were met by the congregation.
And
that's the elder you saw in the video, and that's the pastor there.
in the bottom left, you'll see one of the participants. This girl, I'm not even sure where she's from, but she was not Adventist, and she was giving her testimony during church, just of her journey of deciding to come on this trip. She had talked with a friend and thought, oh, I'll travel and do some sort of ministry in the world, and she settled on Maranatha somehow, and yeah, she was just sharing her experience thus far.
And the gentleman in the blue that was in the middle, he's the translator, so he's translating either to Spanish or from Spanish. And then
Our group did most of the leading for church service.
Janelle did a lot of the singing. And then
As did
yeah,
everyone else.
whole group. Yeah.
So this church, San Alfredo Church, they really, really wanted to be a musical church. So that was one of their wishes, to have their kids or members learn any sort of instrument, because they really wanted to become a musical church. So you can see at the previous picture, there was some.
This was also the first time in a long time they were all able to worship together at the same time.
Yes.
But I don't think.
And this church is 10 feet wider than normal, and it has 2 extra classrooms at the back. So a total of 4 classrooms in it. The lady that was in charge of music ministry was the choir teacher in Sacramento school, one of the Adventist schools. And she took up a big offering, and they bought all kinds of musical instruments, right? Ukuleles?
The Sacramento school, K to 5 students
Yeah.
raised money for this project. They spent probably the last year raising money. Their kindergarten teacher came with his teenage daughter on this project, and that K to 5 group, the money that they raised covered PA system here, the chairs, most of the chairs that you see, I think it was about 50 chairs that they bought, and a lot of instruments, and they were able to bring and buy instruments in the country. I'm not sure if there was more stuff that they, and their kindergarten teacher and daughter's way, I believe, was covered as well with this fundraising.
Ukuleles, violins, recorders, that sort of thing, and guitars.
This is the other church. This is the
One that was painted out.
What is this one again? This is the one you were painting.
Oh, this is the Presidente Franco Church, and the hallway on the right there that you see, I painted a good section in there when I went with day camp.
Josiah was lucky because he got to see pretty much everything, whereas we were on the one job site or in the kitchen. So he got a lot of participation.
That was my granddaughter, Ilea. Okay.
Well, I'm sorry. That's one of the coach buses we traveled on.
Yeah, we didn't even have school buses, so this was really luxury. And then Sabbath afternoon, we went to this nature reserve. There I am in the middle, see? So this lake, oh, go ahead.
No.
This lake is actually well, you can see the dam there, which goes across from Paraguay to Brazil. And we'll talk more about that later, but it's a huge, huge lake.
We saw leafcutter ants, like a lot of leafcutter ants. Like that's one there. And I couldn't put any video in this presentation, but you know, they'd have their line of ants walking, and then they'd be carrying huge leaves that they cut out. So this. Oh yeah, this is their nest. Leafcutter ants. There. And these were, what are these called? Burrowing owls, and that's its. Well, I guess I already said it.
They burrow.
This is where we were at for this little park reserve right here.
And this is looking south.
This is Brazil.
No.
I'm sorry, this is looking south. This is Brazil, and this is Paraguay.
And at the very top where it says set home, that's Argentina.
Correct. So this is the city where we were.
I forgot what we were doing. Oh, okay. So this was day camp in the morning, and we would like do games and stuff and before we went out and did something. And I think this was on one of the first days or something. It was like a say your name game, get to know everybody. I don't know.
Oh, and one day I had the privilege of working just with my son-in-law and my daughter-in-law. And it was a great day. The three of us worked building one section of wall, except when people would call Richard. So, yeah, that was the piece of wall there you see on the right. That was just a really fantastic experience.
I think these pictures might be the end of day 2, I think.
Yeah.
And then this is day 2, we're all working. in there. So all these blocks you see, we had to bring from the outside inside. So I couldn't get video because I'm hauling block, I'm working, but we set up a line and we hauled all this block inside into the building. And this is, does anyone want to explain this? This is,
It's the grout. And you have a bond beam, and then you have, the vertical rebar and horizontal rebar, and you have to fill that with concrete.
Level
make it
4,
strong.
8, and 12.
12, and at the top.
And that day I was in the kitchen. So this was the kitchen crew. And we had a good time. The woman,
sorry.
correct. The woman sitting across from me there, her name is Gretchen. And when I was a teenager, she worked for Maranatha. And the first day on the job site, she came with the kids. She was with the kids that day, and she sought me out and she said, I remembered you from when I worked in the office. And I remembered her as well, and so it was a really nice reunion and good time getting to know her. So it was really great to get to know, you meet new people and you're tossed into work with them, and it's a lot of fun. You're with like-minded people, right? And so it's just like you've known each other forever. This was also the second day of work. I was in the kitchen, as you saw, and Maria came and found me, and she pulled me aside, and she was so excited. She said, I prayed, and Maria was the one working with the glasses, and she said, I found a match. And she found a match for my mom's glasses. So those are her glasses on the right.
At the end of each day, each group would do a report. So medical team, dental team, each construction team, kids camp. And this is Alexis and her friend doing their report from kids camp. Is this the day you went to the dam? Or?
I don't know.
Doesn't matter. Yeah, maybe it was, I think. Another day, maybe same day, not sure.
This is the third day.
Third day, okay.
Third day of work, Leah and Josiah left day camp and they joined us for the day and worked with their dads. There's Rob working, giving everyone more mortar for the boards.
You can see me actually working with a trowel, and those gloves, those are my souvenir that I brought home, and they're right here.
Original Maranatha logo gloves. You can see the progression here, Josiah and Dan laying block together.
See how soupy that is.
And Janelle and Amy, they supplied blocks to everybody. They were up on the scaffold, everybody's up on the scaffold, and these two ladies just hauled blocks, the right number. They would have it all counted out and figured out what people needed, and they had everyone supplied. And those two ladies worked so hard.
Soul sisters.
Yeah.
Yes,
Organized.
Amy and I realized that we are one and the same with organization, and it was fantastic working with her. Also, there's electrical, there's pipes, so when a block goes up, sometimes something's in its way and a piece needs to be cut out of it. So we would also take that to the cutter, get it cut and brought back. A lot of busy work.
Lunch.
In the sunshine.
Yeah.
Mixing cement.
Oh, Oh, man. Rob, what happened? we,
We had to move, we had to build scaffolding, and the planks were very, very, very heavy. And if you weren't careful, you would smash your fingers as you're moving them around, and that's what happened to
or
Rob.
if you were careful.
Or
it's
if you were-
just
yeah.
difficult
It was very difficult,
to
yeah.
navigate
They were
around
very
things.
heavy.
Yeah, so Rob smashed his fingers.
But we're not sure if he did it this day or the day before. He never,
He didn't,
didn't
never
say.
said anything to us. It's just somebody
No,
noticed.
we caught it that day, that night. Yeah, didn't complain, didn't skip a beat, very sore. But the next day he went to work and he kept working, doing what he does best. So yeah, they healed up before we left.
This is them bringing more, that we had more block delivered to us right there, so.
Yeah.
All right, this gentleman, what's his name?
Lupe?
Lupe.
Lupe was working down the street from the construction site, and he was building this pulpit.
Yeah, he's one of the volunteers, and he's a retired surgeon, and he was on the family project last year, and he mentioned, I could build pulpits maybe next year. And so they arranged that. They found a workshop just up the street, a little walk up the street, and he built 2 beautiful pulpits, and one for each church.
And the place that he was doing that, the guy wasn't an Adventist, was he?
I don't think so. It was just
Anyway,
a mere
he showed up
workshop.
for church on the following Sabbath.
There's the Vischer crew minus Alexis and Deborah.
Jonathan and Deborah took turns on the dental crew. There was probably 4 or 5 dentists, and they each took some days and worked with the mobile group there. Josiah, what's this?
I think this is, yes, I think this is the children's ministry team.
You can see there's some Pathfinders with that group there, it looks like that day. A bunch of these pictures were shared with us, so we're just
So
trying
they
to
were
fill-
putting on a vacation Bible school, essentially. Oh, this gentleman, so I have a friend I went to school with. He moved to Canada a few years ago, to Abbotsford while we were there. He lived with us for a while, then he went back to the US. This is his dad. I had no idea his dad was coming on this trip. I did not tell my friend. We text every day, and I didn't tell him where I was going because guys don't communicate. His dad was on the trip. Had no idea his dad was going. I did, and he didn't know I was going to where his dad was. Janelle noticed at lunch, this guy reminds me of Dwayne. And she was listening to him talk, watching his mannerisms. And so when we went to check out the pulpit in the shop, I asked him where he was from. He said North Carolina. He said Asheville. I said, does he know the Davises? And he kind of looked. He's like, that's my last name. So I looked like a dummy. But that's Dwayne's dad. So we took a bunch of pictures. I sent it to Dwayne. I texted him, and he couldn't believe it. He was like, he knew I was going to Brazil. He didn't put 2 and 2 together. Paraguay. He didn't, whatever. So these are...
It's a small world.
These are his nephews, and I'm sorry, niece, nephew. And so I was updating Dwayne with pictures because the grandpa wasn't going to do it. And then Dwayne was sending those pictures to his sister and mom.
Yeah.
So while they were
But
down
he had went the year before, and he came back this year with his grandchildren. So Rob took a day away from the job site, and he went with Jonathan on the dental team. And this is the music ministry, children's ministry. They're learning some of the instruments. Maranatha always puts a fun day in there, And so this day was halfway through the trip, and we left and went back to Brazil, down to Foz do Iguaçu, and we went to see the waterfalls, and you saw the waterfalls in the video at the beginning.
So, yeah, these are the falls. There, and everyone can give their experience. I had a video, I'm sorry, it didn't work again, but this was absolutely incredible. Words can't describe it. How many of you have been to Niagara? So imagine Niagara for a mile.
We walked for a long time, and it just kept getting better and better and better.
It just keeps going, right? So just imagine that in your head, but it keeps going and going and going and going. And we walked out onto this. It was surreal. It's like like you weren't in a real place. Like the sounds, the power, the wind, the water. It was unbelievable. Anyway.
See all the mist coming from the waterfall on the far left? So when you walk out on that thing, you get absolutely drenched in water, because it doesn't look like a lot of mist, but it's a lot. And I went there and back twice, and I came out absolutely soaked.
And it was not a warm day.
I didn't go down there. I stayed on the higher ground.
Everywhere you looked was a rainbow.
Oh yeah, you couldn't avoid seeing rainbows nonstop.
It's just beautiful. We saw on the way down, we saw Cotamandi on the left there. And we walked along kind of a forest trail for quite a while, following these waterfalls. And then the first picture you saw was kind of the grand finale that we ended up at. But that was halfway on the bridge. I went halfway
that's as
before
close
it
as
got too
Janelle
wet.
got. She wouldn't go any further.
Well, you guys had rain jackets. I didn't. I had my only jacket.
Once in a lifetime. Don't want to get wet.
I got wet. I got wet up on the forest trail when I wasn't even near the water. It was just, yeah, it was amazing how much mist was floating around.
And then after, they had a lunch there at a restaurant, and there was a buffet lunch. And they didn't see us coming. Oh, did we eat? Anyway, it was very, very good.
You can see in the far left corner, there's another boardwalk with people on it, and that is from the Argentina side. So we couldn't access that side. I was looking, going, how do you get there? And no, that's from the Argentina side.
The food was fantastic.
Yeah, and that's the money from Brazil.
We were in Paraguay for the mission trip. We were in Paraguay most of the time, but we did not end up with any Paraguayan money. It was just a little bit when we were in Brazil on this one day.
Yeah, coming back.
So right after this experience at the waterfalls, part of the group opted to do a boat ride in the river, either a wet or a dry option, but guaranteed they were all wet. And the rest of us went to a bird sanctuary, and it was impressive. It was beautiful.
There's Rob. Yeah, so it was very interesting seeing some of the local stuff as well. It's nice to get away, and then that evening we stopped at a pizza place and had a lot of pizzas, and they had dessert pizzas too, but they didn't go over so well.
I think it was Yo Amo Pizzeria.
Yeah, Yo Amo. Back to the work site.
Back to work.
So I hurt my shoulder, and you can see my arm in a sling, but that goes with age, you know. And
Oh, yeah. So this was day camp. We went to the school where the kids were, except the fact was it was so in, I guess, South America or Brazil or in Paraguay, when it rains a lot, they cancel school because the kids have to walk to school and there's no heating in the school. So if they get wet when they're walking to school, then they're just wet and cold all day. So there was only like, I think 5 kids there that day in this classroom. And so they were doing some art project thing. I was helping the little boy at the back.
And then a bunch of us were at the job site. They had a little side excursion for whoever wanted to go to see the hydroelectric dam. And I didn't go, but I should have. It's a major civil engineering project. It's the second largest dam in the world, right?
That's correct.
Dan,
Yes.
go ahead.
I went. Second largest dam in the world. I forget the technical details, size and everything. I do know this is 2 Golden State Bridges longer. It's several stories high. I want to say 60 stories high from the top to the bottom. These, I couldn't get the scale here in the presentation, but it's there's 20 of them, and it only takes 3 of these turbines to power all of 90% of Paraguay, and then the rest for Brazil. And then these spillways, these are the largest in the world, these spillways.
So all the water that goes through here goes down to those waterfalls that we saw earlier.
Right.
But these tubes that feed the water to the generators, those are like 20-foot diameter. So it's just huge, massive. And then there's our little church. And this was the last day we were working there. This was the Friday, and we got it all the way up to the sidewalls all the way up, and the end walls just as high. And
That's a
there's
good
my
picture.
son Jonathan. He's walking on a rafter on the outside and just cleaning up the work he had done inside, but it's like, you can tell he's a mountain climber. So that's basically the way we left the church.
Yeah.
At noon Friday,
Rob got, someone brought coconuts, and we used the block cutters to open up the coconuts for for eating. And Rob got one.
he was happy about that. And then, so the afternoon, we took down all the scaffolding and all the forming of the windows and whatnot,
I thought I had a picture
and
of that.
cleaned up the
Oh, it's coming, okay.
the church. Not quite ready for Sabbath, but the local members came in after we left and washed the floors and everything. There's my pants, which I left there as a souvenir for someone else.
They did well, 6 days of work.
Yeah, 6 days work.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, there it is. And that was the crew on the last day. These gentlemen in the yellow hard hats were the local people. And there were 6 of them on the crew. Javier could speak English, the guy with his hand like this. So he and I worked together a lot. He was a great guy, fantastic worker, and he knew what was going on. So we left it in good hands.
They were very, very patient with us.
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of Maranatha, right? They make sure the building's in good hands and is going to be built and finished, but it still provides a good opportunity for anyone to volunteer.
They had the roof panels at the back all ready to put up once the walls were all done. And they're an insulated roof, so the building ends up being completely insulated. They're putting windows on the, in those openings, thermopane windows, so, it'll be a warm church, warm building. And then above each window, you can see a little white pipe there, and that's where they put the combination heating and air conditioning units, so, yeah. This is Argent. Oh yeah, Josiah, go ahead.
So I think on the last day, no, second to last day, day camp, we went to a spot in Paraguay where you can see, not Australia, Argentina on the right and Brazil on the left, and then we were standing in Paraguay, so you could see all three countries at once, which was really cool.
The water coming from, I guess, the top of the page is really dark. That's that muddy, and it's kind of a red water because the clay there is all red, the soil. But then the water is coming from the left and going to the right. And so this muddy water turns, and so half the river is clear and half is muddy. And then one of the evenings for Vespers, or worship time, the local congregation came in and they had a harp player. And I talked to this guy and I tried to get him to join OACS, our new organization here. And he really wanted to come and join us. So anyway, we need a harp player really bad, so if any of you know of anybody that's a little closer than he is, that would help. But they put on a local dance. One of the ladies did the traditional Paraguayan dress and showed the traditional dance while he played the harp. A little bit of culture there.
Yeah, Josiah, what was that picture there on the top left?
Oh.
So that was a national kind of, it was a cheesy bread type thing. It was called chipas. I didn't like them that much, but because I'm not a big fan of cheese. But I know a lot of people like them. And I know in day camp, we made some ourselves. And then that night, the people who did that performance brought some for us.
Yeah, so it was a
Some warm
special
ones.
traditional food. This is pictures shared by Jonathan. This is the dental team that day, and I think they set up in a church, or at the school. So Rob helped set up the chairs and was there that day, and they saw lots of kids, I guess, and dental patients. Josiah with day camp again. They made dessert for us for supper that night and some other things. You can see the age variation in the kids.
This is the last Sabbath? Yeah, last Sabbath. I taught Sabbath school on the last Sabbath and song service again and stuff. Do you want to?
The big picture there was me with the Pathfinder leader there, and I gave him a whole bunch of pins and a picture from our club here to share with the Pathfinder group there. And then in the other top left corner, those are two friends that I made there at church.
Was it Elias? I think it's Elias. Forgive me if I'm getting it wrong. He learned English through Duolingo, and he was very, very proud that he knew English. And he approached Josiah, and then I approached him later, asked him how he knew English. him and Josiah are the same age, and I called Josiah over, and they talked about football, well, soccer, and then American football and stuff. So, very nice kids. There's Javier.
Back
Oh,
up.
back up. Sorry.
Sorry. Yeah, there's not a lot of tourism in Paraguay, so there's not a lot of people that have learned English compared to in Brazil. The ladies at the bottom left were sisters that came from, I believe, New York area, Maria and Magdalena, and they were wonderful new friends. I really enjoyed spending time with them.
And, well, okay.
The middle picture is a presentation of the new pulpit and just the church service there. Oh, the kids were doing music, and the music ministry that they wanted so badly, the kids worked, the local church kids worked all week learning the best they could, and they actually performed a few songs on violin and ukuleles and recorders on Sabbath. They were very excited.
The church, San Alfredo, as we were leaving, they had these banners that they put up for us as we were getting on the bus.
Yeah, they're just ways they're trying to show their gratefulness. You saw in the previous video that they had been praying and hoping for I don't know how many years, and just seeing that blocks were being put one upon the other now was just answering that prayer. The church won't be done for another couple months, but it was just, they were so grateful and so excited to see that, yes, our prayer is being answered. We're going to have a church. I remember I was kind of sitting with you in church, at the back of the church during Sabbath school, and I was just watching, and people were just coming off the street. Oh, what's happening here? And the deaconesses, the ladies in the church, would run over and welcome them and bring them in to sit. And as mentioned earlier, the man of the workshop where the pulpits were built, he was able to, he showed up as well. That ministry is it's just already happening, right? And they're just so thankful that they have a church now they can fit everyone into.
And then we went on Sabbath afternoon to Cadep, which is the Adventist college in Paraguay. And it's a boarding school. They have a farm, you see, and it's a really, really nice institution. There's the church, inside the church, beautiful building. Maranatha has built a couple of the dormitories. There's one of them there.
That's actually the elementary school.
Yeah, the elementary school part.
So that's inside that window that you can see on the left. That's looking into the main part of the school, and the classrooms are lined up along each side.
There's 4 classrooms on each side. So, yeah, it's just a wonderful facility. And yeah. And then, yeah, Maranatha actually fabricates at this college. They fabricate all the churches. So what you see up the top right is the steel being fabricated into the beams and columns and whatnot for the churches that are being built around the country. And then here's the roofing, insulated roofing panels that they're stockpiling up there. So, and they paint the steel and everything. So they've created an industry here as well. Yeah, home base for all the churches. And the...
Reading sugarcane.
Yeah.
Gleaning sugarcane out the... Oh yeah, the giant peas. Did you want to say?
Just a picture with Gretchen and her family.
I forgot to include a picture of the mango grove. That's Mark and his wife. This is the 25 and under. That's all of them who were there.
We had, just going back one, we had, that was one of the last nights there, and we had communion in family groups. And so that was a special time.
So this was our group, and at the end of the project, I asked each one of them, did you grow closer to God? And without hesitation, everybody said yes.
So I just want to, in closing, I want to read a quote to you by Don Noble, who is the president of Maranatha Volunteers International. It says, "The work of Maranatha is not a mission, it's a commission given to us by Jesus Christ." So I am hoping, who here is wanting to join? If you're interested, I'd like to make a list, just so we have a list. The school, I know, the church, we could have a group that we could put together and go one day. So, let me know after if you'd like to be on a list of somebody we can contact to reach out to if we're putting a group together, or if the school is needing more support in a group that they might do. And if you, aren't able to go or not comfortable going and would like to support financially, let me know too, so we can reach out, kids can reach out to you for that support. We want to thank the church, as the church did do a donation and supported Josiah in his participation fee for going on this project. So thank you, church. So, sorry. Oh, yeah.
If we had any questions that anyone had, we're happy to answer any, if we can, I guess.
The one thing about going on a mission project, you're going with the thought in mind that we're going to go help these people. We're going to do something for them. But every single time it comes back that they do something for you. They impress upon you something. And it's just, you fully realize what God meant when he said, we're to help our fellow man and do what we can. So.
We can have closing prayer now. Okay. Bow your heads with me. Dear Heavenly Father, we just want to thank you for giving all of us the Grants and the Vishers and everyone else who was able to go on this trip. And the huge blessing it was to all of us who went and those who we were able to serve. Lord, bless Rutland for their generous donation, dear Lord, and bless all those who took us up in prayer. We just ask that you continue to guide and direct our lives and help us to have a spirit of service one to another. Be with us as we close your Sabbath hours soon. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you, everyone.